I'm recording at this time. This is Rocky Hall from Lassen County, California Oath Keepers, and I'm interviewing a local business owner. And go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Linda Gaynor, and my husband and I, we own the Narrows, which is 6 miles from headquarters.
And you're right outside the refuge.
Right. Refuge doesn't really border me. I mean, I have locals that have private property next to me, but I do have a lot of BLM land that backs the back part of our property and that type of thing. So.
Okay.
But the refuge is very, very close.
Okay. And you're usually closed this time of year?
No, we're open, but we don't have, we have very short hours.
Okay.
But we're open 7 days a week, all winter, every day of the year except for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those are the only days I let my employees have a day off. So.
And you're a Burns County resident?
I'm a Harney County, yes.
Harney County,
Harney County residents.
And how long have you lived here?
11 years.
Okay. So I'm here to get your side of the story. So whatever it is that you want to tell us, if you could start from the very beginning when this stuff first happened and then just tell it as you see.
Well, on the day that Ammon took the headquarters, we originally thought it was more of a protest instead of them basically taking occupancy there. And so that, it was no big deal. The sheriff called to let us know there were rigs coming this way, and it was kind of like, we thought it was sheriffs that were coming this way. But then when we saw the regular, private party type rigs, trucks or whatever, then we thought, oh, well, they're going down to the Hammond Ranch. Well, then they turned on Sod House, and then later we found that they went to headquarters. So
And the Hammond Ranch is located very close to here?
it's probably about 30, maybe 35 miles south of us.
Okay.
You go down to Crumbo, turn off and go in, and then there's a road that cuts off just on the other side of the river, and you go back into their ranch.
And you were talking about private vehicles, you mean like
Like a truck
law
or
enforcement or private?
private people,
Okay.
And we had no idea who it was at that time, and then we found out later. So.
Okay. And then approximately what time did you find out, what day did you find out that they had taken occupancy of the refuge?
So that would have been, let's see, New Year's Eve was what, like on a Friday or something? Was it New Year's Day that they took occupancy, I think?
The second.
Oh, the second, I'm sorry.
The
second.
days are kind of running together.
They do.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I don't remember dates anymore. But yeah, it was, so the second they took it.
How has this affected you personally and your family?
Boy, well, made us have business. Made me not have any short days. It's been real busy. At first it was the reporters that were coming in, and because we have Wi-Fi in the park and the restaurant and stuff, so they would come in, go down at 11 o'clock, do their press conference thing, come back, then they'd write their stories or whatever, and then be able to send it and stuff. So that worked out good for them.
And where did the law enforcement set up their perimeters and barricades that affected you?
That would have been on the 26th, maybe late the 26th or early the 27th of January. And that was after they had arrested Ammon and his group that were headed for John Day. And it was probably about maybe 2 miles north of us on 205. And then there was one probably, oh my gosh, it was on Diamond Lane Junction. And so that would have been about, I'm trying to think.
That's okay.
Mile-wise, it's hard for me to, it's probably about 15, 16 miles south of us.
And how did that affect you?
The south one didn't affect us that much, other than only locals could come through the barricade. The north one affected us a lot.
When the locals came through and came in here, what did they tell you was going on? at the barricades? How were they being treated?
some of them weren't treated very nicely. They were harassed.
Do you mind giving a little more detail as to what they told you?
There was one lady, she's been hauled out of her truck or, a U-Haul 3 times. She was handcuffed. She was asked questions. Her son was handcuffed and was on his knees. And she has had like 5 different strokes that were very, very close together. And she can carry on a conversation and she has no problem with that type of thing. But when she gets flustered, she has trouble thinking fastly. And I'm sure that's an effect from that stroke. And so her son kept saying, leave my mom alone. She's had strokes. She doesn't hear as good. And she won't always understand everything you're saying to her. And so the FBI agent basically informed him that he needed to settle down or he'd bust his balls. And his comment was, no problem, because of the way he was. He was handcuffed and on his knees. Very easily. And this gentleman is probably about 6'5", and probably, he's well over 200 pounds.
And
so
this was
he's a big boy.
This was the son.
Yes.
The son
he
that
was a big boy.
Okay.
And
so he's handcuffed on the ground, on his knees, and trying to protect his mother, and the FBI are telling him they're going to bust his balls.
Yeah. So anyhow, and I know that there were other ones that were harassed to come through, not so much as treated that way, but they were made to get out of the rig. They had to unload their guns, and most of us out here carry a gun because of the area that we're in, and they were made to get out of their rig, and FBI would drive their rig through, and they would have to walk through. So that's how they treated some of the locals.
Was there a reason that the FBI?
I don't know. I didn't go that direction.
Okay.
I went south, but I didn't have a problem other than it's a little harassment when you're sitting in your rig, a lady by herself with 2 dogs, and with my hands on the steering wheel, and you have this, what do they call it, a Bearcat or something like that, that's like an armored rig with the big round metal thing with the little square cut out with the gun pointing through at you.
Did you have guns pointed at you by the FBI?
I did, but at that point.
How did that make you feel as a U.S. citizen?
Like I was not a free citizen. Seriously. It was like living in a communistic country. And that's, unfortunately, if we're not careful, that's where we're headed in this country.
Okay.
So,
do you have any more information as to any other locals that you could provide?
I don't really know everything personally what's happened.
This is what they told you.
My employees weren't allowed to come at all to work on the 27th because they didn't live in this area. They come from Burns, and they were not able to come to work.
And how many days did that last?
2 days.
How did that affect your business?
Let's see. On Wednesday, I closed completely because I had errands already planned. I needed to go to the dump and different things, and I had employees that were coming to work to cover while I was gone. And then on Thursday, I was open. I made a whole $12 because that's all that was allowed to. And that was after the roadblock had been moved, and it was the press that came in and bought coffee.
Have you been threatened or felt threatened by any of the militia or any of the other people?
No, never felt threatened.
What is your take on us, myself as an outsider, coming from California and coming into your area, because this is your town, this is your residence. How do you feel, and how have you been treated by us since the Oath Keepers, the 3%, the Pacific Patriot Network group? How have they treated you and your business And how do you feel with us being around?
Well, all of you have all been polite, very nice. And I think that, and I don't know positively, but I feel that you've been here to help some of the citizens of Harney County to understand where basically Ammon was coming from, what, and just to help give the support to some of those people that maybe weren't certain, were on the fence, not knowing which direction to go, and that type of thing. I mean, I'm not an oath keeper by any means. I'm just a business person, but I believe in my Constitution 100%. And that's the way our country was founded, and that's the way we should stay. But unfortunately, we have a person in the White House that has trumped all over our Constitution. And if anybody right now listens to the political part, and when they're ready to support a socialist, Bernie Sanders is a definite socialist, and they want to support him. Where is our country gone? People don't understand that we won't be able to talk the way I'm talking one of these days, freely like this.
It's already getting difficult.
It's going to get bad, and they don't understand that because it's been ingrained in them in our schools.
And this is coming from a very small business owner. And how many employees do you have?
4. That's how small I am. 4.
And that's you and your husband?
No,
and
actually 5 if you count Ron. Ron does dishes and, cleans tables. We don't let him cook. We don't let him mix drinks. He can pour a beer, but we don't let him cook. So, yeah.
I hope he doesn't see this.
No, he knows.
Okay. Never get rid of your dishwasher. No.
No, he's a great dishwasher.
Perfect.
So.
Okay.
So, last week, on Tuesday, FBI came to visit me. Actually, they came to visit me first on Thursday with 4 armored rigs, and they pulled in, and they didn't come and ask me first here in the restaurant. They just came into the park. One of the rigs went down my center pull-through road because I had an RV at the far end. Pulled up, stopped, made sure it was sideways, so they made sure their big round protection deal with their little square hole so their gun can shine through or point through. And so they were down there. FBI wanted to go through one of the trailers that was here because that's where the Oath Keepers had been. But there was a lady that was staying in the park or had been sleeping in her car, and I let her stay in that trailer because it was totally paid for, and she was working trying to get some of the people that were still down at headquarters to come out. And she did get 2. There was Jason, and I don't remember his last name, and then Jake that she brought out. Well, she had Jake's guns in that trailer. They came in and they took them.
Did they have a search warrant? It's your
My
trailer.
property. It wasn't my trailer, but it was not my property, but it sat on my property. And the lady that was staying in it said that they could go through it.
Okay.
So, for me,
She had nothing to hide, so she didn't worry about it.
She didn't want them to think she was hiding anything. But she told them up front, I have Jake's guns in here.
Okay.
And so, so they took them.
So how many of his weapons do you believe that they...
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't really,
Did you see them removing them from the trailer?
I saw a couple of them go out.
Okay.
But I do know that I was freaking out because by that time, the armored rig that was down at the far end was yelling over the loudspeaker for my RVers that were in that motorhome to come out with their hands up.
So what end result, are you hoping for here? Are you hoping it just stops and goes away, or?
I'm hoping that Harney County will heal because we are hurting badly. A lot of people have disowned friends and stuff like that. If they're your friends, you don't disown them because you disagree about something.
This town has been split right down the middle.
It's been hard. I feel very fortunate out here where I live. I don't feel that. It's town itself. But a lot of that is the way our sheriff has handled things. And with the barricade around the sheriff's office, and with it partly not letting people go into the courthouse or this and that, I feel that he's really put a division between the people of Harney County. And maybe it's, well, I'm still waiting for the sheriff to call me back. I called him 4 times on the 27th. He has not helped the people of Harney County.
What do you believe that he could do different?
Well, he could have returned the phone calls. He could have made people feel safe instead of feeling that they were going to be hurt by these people. Ammon didn't hurt anybody. In his group, they were very polite. They always asked, is everything going okay here? Because there were a few of them that would come in, not all of them, but a few. Are you guys okay? Is everything all right here? Are you having any problems? That type of thing. Same way you guys have done. And, which is great. And even the FBI, the second group that has come in, that is staying at the field station, they've been really, really nice, very polite. They do ask us if everything is okay.
Okay.
And has there been any problems? And we're okay.
What do you think of the sheriff calling in outside law enforcement, FBI, military?
I feel he was way over his head, and I think maybe he was pushed by somebody else. Not positive, but I don't know. I think he should have gone to more of our constitutional sheriffs and asked for their input. He is a new sheriff. There's a lot of stuff that he doesn't know. He's probably never been through anything like this before. But he should have gone to sheriffs that had more experience.
His peers.
Yes, that could have, and he could have gone to both sides. He could have gone to a Multnomah sheriff, which is going to be more liberal, whatever. But he could have gone to John Day and asked that sheriff that is a constitutionalist sheriff.
It's a phone call away.
Get input. How should I handle this? Instead of just bringing in the FBI.
You said there's a second group of FBI?
I heard a week or so ago that there was about 300 more that had come in, but I have a group of close 30 or 40 that are staying, and they come in all the time
That's right.
to eat, but they're staying about 3 miles down the road.
I'm going to touch on something, and if you don't want to talk about it, just say.
Okay.
You think that maybe the sheriff was influenced by someone else. Would that be the judge? Because there is a petition to ask him to step down and resign at this time.
Yes, it was. That's who I think it is. I think Judge Grasky is trying to run this town, and he's...
Whatever you don't feel comfortable talking about, I understand.
And I'm going to leave it. But I do think
Yes.
he's trying to run this town.
Yes. This interview is all about you. And so if there's anything that I ask you that you don't want to talk about, you just say, yeah, we'll talk about it later. So anything you don't want on camera, you just let me know. Is there anything else that you would like to add personally about this experience?
Actually, for Ron and I mean, we've had a lot of nasty emails from the very first night that a reporter printed that we donated food. It was paid for. We delivered it, just like in town that probably Figaro's and Glory Days and other places probably delivered food to hotel rooms. We didn't do anything different than what they've done. And so from that article that she wrote, we became a terrorist. We were aiding and abetting, and we were basically pieces of turd. And it was a nice way of saying that we were a piece of shit. But that's what he wrote, that we were a piece of turd. And a lot of the birders are saying they will not come back here ever again. They will not drive in, get gas, get food. You know, we've been there many times and stuff like that. I'm hoping that they understand that I haven't done anything different.
You're just a business owner.
I'm just a business. I just, got to make that green stuff to make the doors stay open. And this has helped a lot to be able to do that. So, but it's...
Was it the locals that were telling you this, and the people that come in and bird hunt? They were sending you these emails. Can you tell me who it was that was sending you these emails?
I don't know who they were.
Okay.
They were just emails that we got.
Okay.
And some of them maybe have never been here. So I really don't know. And, I'm sure that this one guy that keeps emailing, and I'm sure that he has probably never been here. Would
you like help in blocking him?
Just 1 second. I need to go turn something off.
I'm going to hold on.
Shut down.
We're going to try to help her at this time with, I'm going to show some of the local artwork because this is absolutely beautiful. But we are going to try to help her with maybe blocking this guy that's kind of bothering her with these emails and the such, because we've got somebody here that can help her, and we're going to do that at this time with her permission, of course. I just want to get this local artwork. This guy is just amazing. This stuff is beautiful.
Here with some boys that were talking.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue recording her, and we're going to help you, if that's okay with your permission, and maybe trying to help you block some of these people that are sending you these nasty emails.
It would be nice to basically just kind of know who this person is, because the old saying, payback's a bitch. And I just, one of these days it'd be nice to be able to harass him instead of him harassing us.
Yes.
But, or just to know who he is.
Yeah.
And I know
to out him and show his face for just the harassing person that he is, absolutely.
Some people have said, he's probably some geeky or person or whatever that sits in his mommy's basement and just sends out whatever.
Trolls.
We call them trolls. Yep. They're trolls. They're under the basement. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But other than that, everything's been pretty good. We're still leery. Bird season, the bird watching season is coming up on us. And it'll be interesting to see if those people do come back. And and we haven't had just bad emails. We've had a lot of good emails too. And people saying, hang in there, just keep the spirit going. This too shall pass, and the people will realize that, that you're the same person. So, and that's what we hope for.
Well, we had breakfast here yesterday, and I'm going to give a plug to your business is
The Narrows.
Out here in Burns.
Our address is actually Princeton, Oregon, but we're 26 miles south of Burns, but we're 6 miles from headquarters, and headquarters would be just east of us, that's 6 miles.
And I'm going to say that breakfast was awesome. We had lunch.
We had lunch.
And it was very good. And this morning we're going to have breakfast. And I'm going to give a plug to you because I thought it was really good. And it's just a very small little business here. And she feeds the locals.
Lots of locals, yes.
Lots of locals. She's got a little tiny pub here. And so she did Super Bowl Sunday here yesterday and was very busy. And it's just a small little place. And I want to say that she's just a small business owner and just doing her best to make a living. help her employees. You know, she's got 4 employees, and this is just a small business, and she doesn't need the grief that she's been given. And it's kind of a travesty as to some of the things that have happened to her. And not everything is going to be put on camera. So I'm going to put this out, and I'm hoping that it goes onto the Oath Keepers National website, and you're going to talk to the American people, every last one of them at this time. Is there something that you want to tell them? But first I want to ask you, when Chris Ann Hall was here talking about the Constitution and educating the locals on the Constitution, did you get a chance to go to
I
that?
didn't. I had to work, unfortunately.
Did any of your employees get to go to that?
No, but I had a friend that went, and she said it was spectacular.
Chris Ann Hall is so incredibly knowledgeable, and if you get a chance to buy one of her DVDs, I'm going to say that she's just the tops in my book. But if there's anything that you can say to the American people, just let loose, girl.
To all you Oath Keepers, thank you very much for believing in our Constitution, because it's important.
I'm going to ask, do you know what Oath Keepers is?
I think, from what I understand, it is somebody that has taken an oath to our Constitution, and you believe in it, and you, even after you've maybe no longer serving, military, law enforcement, whatever, you know, fire departments or all those, that you still are supporting your Constitution because you believe in it.
We have constitutional sheriffs, active and retired, that are in our group. We're law enforcement, military reserves, first responders, active, retired, and we took an oath, and your judge here, Gratzky, has taken the same oath that we took, and so we are law enforcement and military, holding other law enforcement and military responsible for the oath that they took, and they need to honor it. They need to educate themselves on it, because obviously some of them don't really know everything, or they're just okay with violating it.
Interesting. Our president took that same oath.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
Yes, he did. He stood up and took it.
To the general American people, and a lot of Americans don't know Constitution.
So, from your heart, I know that you've been tearing up on me a little bit, and I just absolutely love you. What would you like to tell all the Americans out there at this time?
Educate yourself and find out what we're losing. So, that's it.
Thank you. And I'm going to end this interview at this time. Thank you so much for allowing us to come into your business and be here and eat your good food.
Thank you.
And I'm going to give another plug because I think it's really good food.
It is.
Thanks.
It's awesome. So, Rocky Hall, Lassen County Oath Keeper, Susanville, California, signing off.